Hey guys, welcome back to the Mixed Opinions podcast. I'm your host, MixedByJocelin, and to my right, my co-host,
Proton.
And today we have a very, very special guest. But before we get into that, I want to give a big shout out to Audio Movers. They're giving you guys 1 month free of their plugin, Listen To. All you have to do is click the link below and use the code Mixed Opinions at checkout, and you'll get 1 month free. That is big shout outs. Thank you, Audio Movers.
Boom.
Right, today... Oh, and please, before I go any further, make sure you like and subscribe and do all of the good stuff that you have to do on all the different platforms. It really, really, really does help.
Come on.
Today, our guest is a very, very cool engineer making big waves at the moment, especially in the Atmos scene. He's worked with the likes of STORMZY, Khalid, Bree Runaway, to say that right?
Yeah.
And Olivia Dean. We have Will Reeves on the podcast.
Yo, guys.
How's it going?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we
it.
got there eventually. We're in a new room today, so...
Took a minute.
Yeah,
to get
took a
going.
minute. We
Working out some of the kinks, but it's cool.
Yeah.
We were saying we
It is
got
what it
three engineers in here and not a clue.
Not a clue with cameras, man.
With cameras.
Yeah.
That's
Audio-wise,
fair.
we were good to go.
Yeah, of course. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just to get started, for those that don't know, I'd love it if you would give like a short bit about how you got into the industry, how you started in audio engineering.
Yeah, man. I mean, I suppose it was more of like a traditional kind of route in. I studied music systems engineering at Bristol Uni. And then after then, I got like an assistant role over the summer in a studio called Toybox Studios, and I was
Toybox, that rings a bell.
Toybox, yeah. There's it no longer exists, but the guy who was there, a guy called Ali Chant, who was the engineer, he's now moved and he's just done like Yard Act, and he's doing some really cool bands. But the producer there was like a friend of my mum's cousin or some like
one of them
random
ones.
link.
Yeah.
And his name was John Parrish, and he worked with an artist called PJ Harvey for a while, who was quite big back in the day.
Amazing.
So for first summer out of uni, I was like working there, like
How old are you?
lunch run, 22, 23.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did a 4-year course, and I took a year out before I went to uni as well, so I was a little bit delayed.
Doing what? Just standard?
I went travelling.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
nice.
for 6 months, like Southeast Asia and Australia and New Zealand. And
Awesome.
yeah,
That's one thing that I always feel like I missed out on, the travelling thing. But yeah.
It's good to do when you've got like no responsibilities,
Yeah.
Like, it would be hard
I'm just
to
going
take
to try
6
and do it
months
when
off
I'm
now.
really rich and successful.
Or
and then
that.
I don't have to do it in hostels.
But you won't want to step away from the music, man. It's hard. Like,
No, I know.
I could never take 6 months off now. Like, it's just...
No, yeah, 100%.
Because I don't want to. It's like FOMO, I don't want to miss out on like...
Well, I'm always getting in trouble from my girlfriend for bringing my work on holiday with me anyway. So that's why I forced my hand and got a computer rather than a laptop now. So it has to stay at home. But sorry, continue.
So I was there for a summer, and that to me at the time seemed like the studio. So once I'd kind of been there for like a couple of months working with some artists, like, lunch run, coffee, setting some mics up, and then just like watching them do Pro Tools and asking the occasional question.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, right, I think Bristol was like kind of, I've got what I can out of it. So I essentially just sold all my stuff and got a plane ticket to LA. And I had my eyes on Larrabee, which is where Jason Joshua and Manny and all of that were working. And by some stroke of luck, I had managed to find the studio manager's email online. So I had emailed her being like, I hadn't booked my ticket yet. I'm coming to LA. I want to work at Larrabee. I'm from the UK, blah, 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 blah. And she got back to me, like, so lucky. And she said, cool, like, how's an interview on this date? So I just booked a ticket for that date and went.
I don't like to call that stuff lucky because you've put yourself in that position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like what you've put yourself through up until that point has given you the confidence to send that email.
Yeah.
That's how I always say. It's like, it's not luck. It's like...
Well, you make your own luck, don't you?
Yeah.
I suppose,
and everyone, everyone... well, not everyone. I don't mean to say that, but like, there's always doors for everyone, and it's whether or not you walk through them or not.
Yeah.
If you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Like everyone has opportunity.
I think when it comes to like the creative world, because yeah, believe it or not, engineers are still technically creatives. In that world, you kind of do have to, if you don't create your own opportunities, then yeah, you might view it as luck. But if you're someone that's always forward thinking, like how you've just explained, can't really put it down to luck, man.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're even confident enough to know I'm going to go out there and nail that interview, it's that easy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do agree with you. But also, when you're like 23 and someone like, between us, we know how like prestigious Larrabee is. It's like the place for mixing engineers. So to get a response, I felt really lucky. I know what you mean. Like I put myself out there and did the research, and
I mean, there's a bonus of being from the UK as well.
100%.
I do think it helps us sometimes.
Like over there, they hear the accent and they're like, you know. So.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's that small bonus.
Yeah. I don't know. I always just find when talking about people's sort of like careers and how they've moved in, especially, and I'm not talking about people from different countries and stuff like that. I'm talking about, you know, we've all sort of grown up the same area, same sort of thing, UK based. You know, most of us get set on a similar sort of starting point. And like, you know, a lot of my friends would say when we were younger, like, oh, you're so lucky to do this, you're so lucky to do that. And I'm like, no, like, you know, I was there and I made sure I was there and I made sure that opportunity was given to me. Do you know what I mean? And I had the tools to make the most of that opportunity. And that doesn't always happen. And they're the ones that you remember. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, cool. That definitely down to you though. Not so much luck.
I appreciate it. So yeah, I did end up going over and I worked with like some more producers when I was there. I went for the interview, but whilst I was there, I just did everything on the fly. So I was like looking for internships on Instagram and found one from a music producer I was following. Like, you know, it just ended up being that way. And I did end up having the interview after it got pushed back. I had to like extend my flight, extend my stay, end up like, you know, I had to call mum and dad and be like, I need to stay for another week. Like,
can I have some money?
Help, essentially. and my dad, who has always worked for himself as a photographer, funnily enough, was like, you went for this interview, you've got to have it. So I ended up having it. It went really well, but then the whole visa kind of thing happened. And the Amy, her name was, who was a studio manager, was like, we can't take you on. We can't.
Because you get like what, 90 days out there?
You get a holiday visa for 90 days.
Yeah.
But a working visa is completely different. You've got to be sponsored. So
talent visa, innit? They give you a talent visa.
Or you get a talent visa, which is, you know, I was not a talent at that point. I was just some young kid like trying my luck. So came back. Sorry, this is me getting on now.
No. It's super interesting.
So I came back, having done that, really good experience, you know, learned a lot of valuable lessons whilst I was out there. And I thought, okay, well, it's got to be London then. If, you know, I've done Bristol, it's got to be London or Manchester. And
I mean, Bristol's a pretty cool place to get your foot in though. Like,
absolutely.
some incredible music comes out of there.
It's more like, the scene there is more like drum and bass and dance and like...
They tried to claim dubstep, but dubstep was Croydon.
100,000%.
Are you claiming that?
That's a guarantee.
I was about to say dubstep.
Listen, hold tight, Koki, hold tight, Bengal, hold tight, Plastician, hold tight, Screen.
I won't speak on that then. 100%. I won't speak on that. But I got introduced to dubstep at Bristol Uni, like going to Annie Mac presents.
Because a couple of the guys went to Croydon first and then came back to Bristol.
There you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Black Sheep is the Black Sheep and Bad
originated
Apple.
Was it Big Apple?
Big Apple, that was it. Big Apple. That's where dubstep was made.
No way. What are they like venues or?
So the Black Sheep was a bar. Was like a bar, and then the Big Apple was a record shop, and they used to sell like nice trainers in there and stuff. I literally like grew up in there as a kid because my brother was like a vinyl vinyl whore, loved it, and would just drag me along. So
sick, man.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about Croydon owning dubstep.
I won't speak on that anymore. Yeah, so I ended up getting an internship in central London at a place called Soho Sonic, and I was there.
Yes, I know that. Yeah,
I was there for like 6 months. Just again like teas, coffees, like lunch runs, every now and then doing like some voiceover work. And I would say like my big break, if you want to call it that, is I got a job as like the assistant engineer at Tape London, which is in Mayfair.
Right, I know Tape.
It's a nightclub, but it's got a recording studio.
Yeah. I know a bunch of guys that record there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like for the UK scene, I mean, that was where I kind of like learned my craft really. Like uni was cool, but I'm much more of a hands-on learner. So to get into a studio and like be patching things and running the compressor and like EQs and stuff, it was really useful to be in a studio hands-on with my then mentor Hef Moraes, who was the head engineer there. Yeah, massive shout out, because I definitely wouldn't be in the position I'm in now if it weren't for him. So
love to,
100%.
So yeah, and then whilst I was there, I worked with like all the people who would perform at the club. US and UK artists would come to the studio afterwards, and I would record and mix. And eventually Hef took a step back when I was like more competent, and I just kind of ran the studio essentially there.
Who was your because that place you do get some cool names come through. Yeah. Who was like the one name where you were like, oh shit?
Well, like there was a few of those moments, but I didn't work with them. Okay. Like Justin Timberlake came in.
Wow.
And I was like,
JT,
I didn't talk. I was just like, yeah. I was, and I'd actually been there for a while. So the first 6 months I was like, 25, probably 24, 25. And it's just like, celebrities, like all the time. Like football players, I'm big into football. Yeah. So football players, celebrities, Liverpool. Yeah. I'm actually from Southampton. I get so much stick from my friends. I'm like, you can't have two teams. I'm like, yeah, I can. Yeah. What about you guys?
You don't even want to know. I'm United, so
I'm Arsenal.
That's cool, man.
Just about.
I don't mind. I don't mind. What happened to Croydon FC, boys?
I'm Palace. My second team.
Yeah, okay. It would have been Palace, but or Sutton. Is it Sutton?
Shout out Sutton. They're playing league football now.
Yeah. Big up.
Is there not a Croyd? So Crystal Palace is like
there's Croydon, AFC Croydon or Croydon FC.
Yeah.
There's a couple Croydons. Stormzy and Zaha are like.
That's what I just saw.
What are they like? Chancellors or something? I don't know what it would be at that level, but they're high up and they big them up, man.
But if you're from that area, it's Palace, isn't it? Really, everyone goes to the Palace games. I remember going there when I was younger and being like, "This place stinks of piss, man." I just didn't want to be there at all.
Man.
Eagles, man, up the Eagles.
Yeah, they've updated their stadium.
I'm sad to see Zaha go, man. To the Turkish league. That's sad, man.
It's mad. But you know what? We say that, but I don't know when the Turkish season works and stuff. But I feel like you will still see him, especially with his involvement of. No, he'll get to play, but as in that they might finish or start their season like a month later or something. And with the investments with AFC Croydon, I think, or Croydon FC, I hope I'm saying the right one. But yeah, Croydon Athletic it might be. But yeah, mad. So yeah, between him and Stormzy, they're gonna boost the profile of that, man.
Massively,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, shut them up.
So yeah, as I was saying, footballers and whoever else was there. So for the first 6 months, I was kind of just like continuously starstruck, like all the time.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think Hef kind of drilled it into me. He was like, I get it, but like you're here to work. Like if they come into the studio and see you're like fanboying, not that I was like, I want an autograph, and like the whole time I was there, I think I saw one photo ever, and it was with Reverend Run from Run DMC.
Oh yeah, but you kind of have to, right?
I'm not going to not ask for a photo. And he was literally doing photos with everyone in the studio, and I was like,
I think there's a way around it. There's a respect and I'll say the right words, admiration for it. And wanting to get a little pic, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's fanboying. It's something that I've said to a bunch of my guys, especially when we were back at Relentless. We used to have loads of MCs coming in and big names come through. And I'd be like, guys, it's you here, you are working. Do you know what I mean? So please, because I'd get guys just come from out of college or whatever. And I remember one time I was taking Jackson to, do you know Sean D?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know Sean.
Taking to Sean's studio for a writing room. Jackson's gonna hate me for saying this, but screw it. It was a producer there, a big producer. I can't remember his name.
I'm trying to think. If I think of who works out of Signature, could have been like Ghosty, M1.
Yeah,
Shank, someone of that.
Say profile. It was M1. I don't think it was, but literally, I was like, there's going to be some people about, because this is Sean's studio and he works with big names, and he's like, yeah, it's cool. Anyway, one of these big producers opens the door and Jackson just goes, oh, that's M1, and I'm like, bro, please. Like,
the thing is though, as soon as you do that, you've already when you're working with a high level or with anyone, you want to be seen as an equal, and as soon as you're like, I want a photo or an autograph or whatever, you're already taking yourself out of like a
if you
professional
do it straight away,
mindset.
If you build a relationship with them first and be like, let's get a pic.
I mean, I would even say like if you build a good relationship with them, then there's even less of a reason to ask for a photo.
Even have one. I mean,
because you're like,
I pride myself in never taking or asking for any photos.
Yeah.
I think I worked at Maplin once for a little bit and I had to take a photo with Sampha. Sampha came in, I just Sampha.
Yeah, but that's Sampha.
Do you know what I mean?
What
and I'm not in a setting where I'm not sort of just a normal civilian. I'm not his equal.
Yeah.
If I'm working in retail and he's buying something, I'm literally just serving him, right?
Yeah.
But when it was whenever it's in a studio setting, I don't think I've
completely
ever asked.
different. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
agree.
take a slightly different approach.
I'm saying all this until I see like Kanye West, obviously, but everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, if Kendrick
someone
was to walk in now, like, bro, I'm getting a picture with him. Like,
I don't know, man.
I probably won't go for the picture, bro, but I would be happy.
I would be in forever regret. I would chat to him. I would talk to him as a, I wouldn't try not to fanboy. And this is how I like to work. And then, I would say, let's get a photo together. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Not like a selfie, but like, I don't know. For me, I don't know. You could probably tell I'm big on like content and
for you it works
and my Instagram and stuff like that. Yeah, the brand, but
exactly.
But the same for you, really.
Yeah, and do you know what it is? I would put it down to something as simple as if I can see myself having a long-term working relationship with the person, I won't want to ruin that by any way of like asking it. However, if there's someone like there and I'm outside of work and it's like someone that I look up to or something like that, then I'm more likely to.
Outside
if I'm in,
of work, of
like
course,
you said, if you're in a working professional environment, I probably wouldn't, just because I'm like, I never know when our paths are going to cross again, and then I'm always just the guy who like asks for a photo.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that.
And imagine how many times they get asked, like all the time, like all day, every day. Can I get a photo? Can I get this? Can I get that? And it's
100%.
like, funny story, like, and I really don't mean to name drop here.
No,
but like,
bro, this is the place too. So please do.
And I'm not that guy, but just because we're on the subject, so at Tape Again, I did a session with Ludacris, and
sick.
Growing up, Ludacris, like, come on, like, it's so sick. And we finished the session, and we were just talking. He was like, "Oh, is there a back exit here?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Cool," because there's been people like following me, and I was like trying to get photos, and I was like, "Yeah." So I showed him, and he like peeked out the door, and he came back in, and he was like, "I'm just gonna chill here for like 2 minutes because like there's people waiting." And then I kind of like had a little look for him, and that would have been a time for me to be like, I suppose, well, should we just like? But I was like, do you know what? He's literally saying, I don't want to go out now because there's people waiting to take photos.
It's so funny you say that, and it's so funny you say Ludacris as well, because I went to see Tenacious D.
I saw that. I was so jealous.
Yeah,
guys,
I would love to see
smiling. This is funny.
Yeah, but this was quite jokes.
Look at the glee on
my
his
friend
face.
makes my friend makes lightsabers.
Situation. Like if it's Jack Black, I'm asking for a photo.
See,
of
that's
Jack
so
Black.
funny.
Yeah, no, but
you finally broke character.
I've just undone everything I've just said. But Jack Black, he's
such a G, and to be fair, that whole situation, like, we were invited back to the, this is going to sound a bit clouty, but like invited back to the after party. Yeah. Everyone in that room was there to get a photo, and Jack Black and KG knew that, and so they went round and took photos with everyone.
So cool.
And obviously, I was in a really lucky position because I was there, but I wasn't there off my own merit. My one of my best friends, KR Sabers, if you want to Instagram it, he makes like the best lightsabers, like replica lightsabers in the world. Like, he's the best at it. And I'm not saying that because he's my friend. He genuinely is. He's made them for everyone. Yeah. Like, you open them up and it looks like a lightsaber. It's got a fucking crystal chamber in there. Like, it's unreal. Yeah, I'll show you after this.
Yeah.
And so we got invited, but Ludacris walks past me. No one's noticed him, and I'm like, bro, that's fucking Ludacris, So
at the Tenacious D
gig, just in like the main lobby, right? Trying to find someone to go. I ran up to him. I said, "Ludacris, what's going on? I'm a big fan. Please, can I get a picture?" And he turns to me. This is the first time this ever happened to me. He goes, "No picture, but all the love." And he spotted me, and I was a bit like, you know what?
Fair.
Respect. Respect. Fair. But I was a little bit like, oh man, I'm gonna fucking love that picture. But it's so weird that you say that about him, and then literally like a couple of months ago I had the same experience.
Do you know what it is as well? Like, say you took the photo of him in the main lobby, everyone's going to be like,
No,
who's taking the photo? Like,
as soon as I said it, that's what I realised. And I was like, I've been a bit of a dick here.
Right.
Because that's 100% why he doesn't want to do that. We're in the centre of the O2.
Yeah.
They're gonna go, he must be famous.
Yeah,
then
yeah,
the penny's
boom.
going to drop.
Boom.
And then everyone's going to want a photo with him. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, because he's not just a rapper, do you know what I mean? He's been in movies and all sorts of
he's a
stuff,
legend,
do you know what I
isn't he?
mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's an absolute G.
and he's also a really nice guy,
Yeah.
despite pieing you
Well, no,
off.
honestly, no, because it was the nicest way I could have been pied off. So I really didn't mind.
Exactly.
I really didn't mind. But
Yeah,
and then you know, 10 minutes later, I'm in a room with Jack Black and you know, chatting. We were chatting,
So
and
jealous, man.
he as well. He was so nice because he took the time. Like, this guy's a megastar, and he took the time to like talk to everyone, because I got some like brilliant stories about how I got into Tenacious D. Because it sounds weird to say, but I'm a Tenacious D fan before I'm a Jack Black fan. Like I've loved Tenacious D ever since I was like 10, way before I should have even known what Tenacious D was, but my older brother put me onto it. And he took the time and listened to all my funny stories about his music, because I've played it in some very inappropriate places. And it was.
What's your favourite Tenacious D song?
Well, the Fuck Her Gently.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, man. Yeah.
and that was the song that that was the song that was kind of awkward. One of the situations. It makes me cringe just even talking about it. But like, it was the first time I got invited to my girlfriend's house for Christmas, and and the dad got an Alexa for Christmas. So everyone's going around, oh God, you can fucking ask this thing and it'll play a song. But everyone go around the table and ask it to play their favourite song. So everyone's going around like, this is me first time. And the parents like, we're cool, but like, we're very different people, right? I'll just leave it at that. And I said that song, and it sunk so bad.
Are you still with the girl?
Yeah.
Oh, you're still with her? Wow.
Yeah, but it was so
He's not
awkward.
even been shunned by the parents.
Oh, well.
Different story.
But it was like, it didn't go down very well. But my brother the reason why I love that song so much is the story. My brother, he had a flatmate, he'd bring a girl back, and they had like paper thin walls, and he used to put if you know the song, you know why this is funny, he'd put the speakers up against the wall and play that song whilst he's got this girl.
Jesus.
But terrible. But anyway,
we just went off on a tangent there,
about Jack Black.
I did say that happened at the beginning. I was like, anyway, I was at Tape. I was there like 2.5 years, and then it just got to the point where like I was like, I kind of need to take the leap now, because it's a nightclub. I was still doing a lot of work in the nightclub, like running the PA system and stuff like that. And all I wanted to be doing
was doing the live stuff there as well.
Yeah,
that's it.
All
this
I
is what
want
we
to
were
do
saying
is
last week.
Studio.
Doing live.
We say this, I've said it every week. Just
doing
not
live
real
is
engineering,
one of the best
live.
ways to really get into engineering, because you got to learn, and you got to learn quick.
and it's high stress.
Yeah.
Because you've got like 4
ridiculous.
different people being like, you need to turn that snare up, and then someone else says that snare's too loud.
Yep.
You're like,
Yeah.
wait, what? So
Have this debate weekly.
Yeah.
it's horrible, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone.
Well, no, that's what we say to the guys that are trying to get into it. That's where, you know, I encourage
the
it.
deep end,
I
just
say
jump in.
go for it, because you're going to learn quick. And then when you get into a studio, you're like, this is so chill.
So easy.
Like,
So relaxed.
you know what I mean?
Like, I've not felt pressure in a studio for a while.
Yeah.
Anything you troubleshoot, it's like, you're on
I've got
their
time.
time, but it's nowhere near as bad as like messing something up on the fly that can't
Oh
be
my
redone.
days, yeah.
Like, there's no rewind button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
and your dumb
there's no
ass got to
command
stand
Z,
out in the middle of the
Control Z,
stage
yeah,
whilst
yeah.
they're
Control Z.
performing, swap
Yeah.
the mics out. It's crazy.
It's
I'm not doing
awful.
that. You have nightmares about it.
But yeah, so when you was doing the live sound stuff, was you also doing studio stuff, or was it more live?
No,
at the
I was
time?
doing more studio stuff, but
Okay.
say like, you know, G-Eazy comes in and performs in the
Yeah,
nightclub.
Yeah.
So we'll, you know, do all the sound for him there,
Yeah.
and then he'll go and do like a session in the studio, and then we'll go through there.
yeah.
In fact, he brought his own engineer, who was a guy called Dakari. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Genuinely one of the most incredible recording engineers I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Like,
Is he from the States?
yeah.
The session engineers from America are just robots, bro.
Bro,
They are
I see
it's
videos.
next level.
They're
They're
so
robots.
quick.
It's next level.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the way that they know their artists as well, and they don't even
Yeah.
have to say something.
No, it's because
Yeah.
one more time, remember, it's already where they need to
Yeah,
be
exactly.
before they've even finished saying
See,
run
that-
that back for me.
Him and G-Eazy, like I don't know about now. I'm fairly sure that they still work together.
Yeah, but they're like two in the same, I bet.
Honestly, like it was the most incredible session I've ever seen in my life. Like they had a song done in honestly like 20 minutes. Just like boom, 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 boom. And he had his template. Like I swear to God, he could have just released it there and then because he had the template
It was just
down.
clean,
Really?
Yeah. Just like record, drag it into.
See, and that's the thing, when you build a relationship like with one artist, like, and you work with them for a long time, like that's when, you know, you really, really do nail that kind of stuff.
I like to think I've got clients that I'm like that with. But what happens is when they go on their like release run, you're not in with them for a few months again, and then you get rusty, or they want to try a different approach. But
because it depends how big the artist is.
Like that, it's a massive thing, man. Like, I don't think it ever goes away. Like, you know, you can work with an artist for so long and then they get the big major label and then they're like, well, we want to try the label, like we want to try this guy, we want to try this guy.
I hate that.
It doesn't matter. And it happens to literally everyone. And unless you're like Serban, you're not, you know, who that. Holds on, you're not above it. No. So it happens. It does happen. And I think it's something that's like, when it first started happening
fishing,
to me,
innit? That's what it's called. It's like up fishing. That's what it's called.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah. When you're like, they're always trying the up thing, and then obviously the labels have their guys and they're on their salary and whatever.
Exactly. And you know, what I was going to say is, it took me a really long time to not take those things personally, because actually, if you really care about, this is my approach to it now, like if you really care about the artist and the person that whoever is next for them, like the next mixer or recording engineer, is bettering their art, then like by all means, like you should go and do that. The dream is, the dream is like, you know, 40 with Drake, or like Ali with Kendrick, or like, you know, that's the dream. Like work with your best mate, he becomes the biggest artist in the world and you're his go-to.
Of
course.
Like,
it's 1 in a trillion.
Like,
it doesn't happen, does it? Like, do you know what I mean?
I think the issue is, I was even saying this when we had Sean on, we were saying some people get signed and then there's no loyalty once they reach a certain stage.
Yeah.
I think as engineers, I feel like we're more likely to be loyal to our clients than they are to us. Because if you have X, Y, Z available to you in a room, but their friend that might be signed or whoever might be like of a certain level and gets them into a studio that's £200 an hour, whatever, the best of the best.
Yeah.
Gets them into that room, they might just start to think, oh, there's better than the person that I'm working with.
Yeah.
The things that can sort of tick them are pretty easy. Like it's very easy.
Someone could
for
do
them
like
to
a turntable stop on a record that you
I
didn't
need to
do,
start
and they're
coming
like,
to you
he's
now.
the guy, he's the guy. You know what I mean?
So they're fickle. That's the word I was looking for. Some clients can be very fickle.
I don't know. I think not again, this is all, you know, is overarching, like not personal of anything. But
that's it. You just said it, man. It's not personal.
Yes,
it ain't personal.
I never find it personal ever.
Yeah, and it's the end. At the end of the day, it's money driven.
Yeah,
right?
It's a business, man.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. And you can't take it you can't ever take it personally when there's money involved. And you know these guys are just trying to chase the bag, and you know their label who has the bag is telling them, this is the guy that we're going to use. Yeah. They're hardly going to turn around and be like, no, we're going to use my mate from the estate that I grew up on or whatever. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be like, no. The only way to get around that is when you start to get to our level. And oh, go on. So we've got a technical issue. But
I think they have 20 minutes on them. Yeah.
Are you joking?
Or half an hour.
Half an hour left, or
no, half an hour at a time, because they are SLRs, not videos. We're cool. Keep that.
Okay. Cool. Well, there'll be like an error sign come up that I'll edit in for that bit.
We could just cut it. You can just do a jump cut.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, whatever. I like to keep it flowing. But yeah, as I was saying, like, you know, the artists, you know, they don't want to upset the label. Yeah. And I think it's when you sort of get to where we're at now, where everyone's started to get some credits behind them and, you know, worked on some big stuff. And then you can sort of, the artist can sort of say when they approach their label, I want to use this guy. And then they can say, you can show them your CV and be like, fair enough. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And or you're on the other side of it and you're the label guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I feel like, you know, that's even like, I feel like, you know, artists say, oh, how hard it is to get signed. I think trying to get involved with a label as an engineer can be even harder. Do you know what I mean? Because they have their guys. They're, you know, engineers are timeless. You don't, you know, once you have a good engineer.
Until they get to nice.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But like, you know, you it's not like you don't shelf an engineer like you shelf an artist when they're not selling records. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you like them and they're continuing to produce good products, they stay for years. You know what I'm saying? So, the key is to get in with the A&Rs, really, isn't it?
But it's literally all relationships. This industry is built on relationships, entirely. And like, I think that's probably the thing that I learned most at Tape. Like, aside from the technical aspects of engineering, like working well with people in a room. And I think that's why I was able to go and be freelance. And it's, you know, touch wood. Where's some wood?
The leg.
Touch wood. Going all right so far. Like, you know, I enjoy being around people and meeting new people. And I think that's probably why.
So on that note, how long have you been freelance for?
5 or 6 years. 5 years.
Okay, nice. About the same time as I've been freelance.
Yeah, 5 years.
Me and you, really.
I took a break.
Yeah. So, you know, what's your like experience in sort of like maintaining that and making sure, you know, what's your advice to guys that are thinking about going freelance, wanting to do the jump, and you know, they want to. How I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. Like, what's your advice to them about like maintaining clients, reaching out, and, you know, and building a portfolio as a freelancer?
I'll try and answer that question the best way I can, because there's a few different things there and a few different things I think are important to mention. Like, I took the leap to freelance because I felt like I'd been backed into a bit of a corner. So
exactly the same.
I was like, I kind of have to do this for my own sanity. And I maybe feel that I probably, if things were all cool and content and I was happy in my job, I maybe wouldn't have done it. So it's kind of the best thing to ever happen, because you know what it's like when we get addicted to salaries. Like, if you're in like a full-time employment, it's so hard to leave because, you know, you've got the paycheck coming in and you're living in London, so you have bills to pay and rent is crazy. You're comfortable. Like, why would you disrupt comfort? And I kind of got forced to, for one reason or another. And then when it came to getting clients, I had already put in like a lot of FaceTime in the studio with people. And when I went freelance, I just reached out to everyone that I'd worked with. So, you know, I'd done a stint with, I'd done a good stint with like Steel Bangles, and he had been bringing like Mo Stack and Mist and everyone into the studio. Yeah. So when I left, I kind of reached out to Bangles and I was like, I'm freelance for a bit. So I did some freelance stuff with him as his recording engineer for a while. And then
in like their rooms, or did you have your own room?
Well, funnily enough, I would go like back to Tape because he would use
just
Tape,
as a freelance,
but as a freelancer. And then we went over to Fraser T. Smith's studio at the Matrix Studios.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Which is Parsons Green, I think.
Fraser's in Matrix?
He was. He's moved out now to like some bougie like country house thing with a built barn studio. It's mad. And that's actually, I met another engineer called Manon Grandjean there. You know Manon. Shout out Manon, because I think she's one of the best UK mixers right now.
She's doing that new girl, the TikTok girl.
Katie.
Is that it?
Katie Baser.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So we're just talking about people who upscale. I did all of Katie's first EP. Then she got signed. And then the label was like, we've got Manon. And I was like, Manon, what are you doing to me? Like,
right, on. Just back to the dojo, man. Let's just keep working.
I really like her music,
though. Katie?
Yeah.
You know, it's like TikTok crazy.
Yeah,
like, you
but
know.
it's a bit like Lily Allen-ish, kind of like.
Yeah. I'm not even aware of it.
She sort, you know, she talks about like boyfriends and.
Her latest song is called DILF. So.
No, crazy.
Well, no, it's the one it's coming out this week or something. I'm actually a fan.
It's that one. That's DILF is the B-side of the main single.
What, the one where she's talking about having two boys?
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. Yeah, it just sounds mad.
That's what it's like. This is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
about like TikTok stuff. Like, it's just madness.
As I said, I found out about her like maybe a year or two ago on TikTok.
I tell you what, like, you're talking about socials. She's unreal at social media.
Yeah.
Katie, like,
Yeah,
she's
definitely.
on it.
I always see her
So
near King's
impressive.
Cross. Filming.
She's
bits.
from Southampton as well. It's
really?
Like part of the reason why it was so fun working with her, because we're both from the same place. Like, this is so sick. Like, let's build.
I saw her. She was in the studio with Lytech.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, she's in the studio with Lytech.
Shout out
Lytech
YJ as well.
Yeah. Lytech's a good guy, man.
Yeah.
But he's doing big bits, and then those two together are basically just like hit producers, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, ridiculous, bro.
Number one, there you go.
This is ridiculous.
When you find that formula, like,
Mate, they've nailed
works.
it.
It's dumb.
So
freelance,
yeah. So I had already put like time in with people, so I just started reaching out, and essentially, like, when I first went freelance, I was like, anything I can get. So recording sessions, mixing, like even a bit of production at the time, like making beats or whatever, like anything anyone needs just to get me up and running. Because it's scary, man. Like, I didn't have any savings or anything. Like, I'm 27 at that point. I had no savings.
What creatives have savings?
Do you know what I mean? Like, I was paycheck to paycheck at Tape. And actually, like, shout out to another artist like Connor Maynard, because
shout out Connor.
I swear to God, Connor kept me afloat for like the first 6 months, because I was mixing and doing all his stuff.
So he was doing a lot of Connor. Do you know any of the writers he was working with?
He worked with a lot called Anth, a guy called Anth.
Okay.
Who else?
I think one of my guys has done some bits from Billy Crabtree.
Oh, it's his recent stuff.
I'm not sure how recent it is, because like in terms of the stuff I've heard in the past year, I'm not sure if any of it's been released.
Okay.
Or what has been, what has not been released. You know what I mean? But I'd say no, stuff from about last summer and before.
It's highly likely that I've mixed it just because I've done Connor stuff for the last like 5 years, and including his most recent
Connor's
thing.
Incredible, you know. He's in his own lane, man. No one can really chat to Connor. Known about the guy since what, like 2011, 2010.
And like on YouTube, he's
solid
just huge.
Run. Yeah, he's ridiculous. His
like,
lane is
great singer, but like, again, above all else, and this is what I would stress to people trying to get into it or go freelance, is like, when me and Connor met at Tape, just like, he was just there for like a night, like to hang out, and he came in the studio or whatever. We just chopped it up and got talking, and we just got on, like,
built a relationship.
And then I just reached out and I was like, yo, like, I'm doing freelance. He was like, yeah, of course. Like, we just get along. So like, now whenever we work on a song, he just texts me and like, I've got one for you. Like, I want this. And I know how he wants it now, so I can just get it done ASAP. And
love that.
Don't get me wrong, like, no, he had to give me a couple of slaps on the wrist when I first went freelance, because I kind of like fucked up in delivering some stuff to him. But again, that was another good lesson learned. Like, he was just like, we need to hit this deadline, and you've kind of made a mistake that throws that off now. Like, and I was like, oh shit, like, this is a bit of an awakening. This is the real, yeah. And I was like, this is what it is. So you just keep learning. But it all I would say is like, build relationships. And when I was in Bristol, I used to bartend, right? And my old bar manager would always say to me, I can teach anyone how to make a martini, but I just can't teach anyone how to serve it. Right. So like, I can give you the tools to make it, but like, it's up to you how you interact with the people around you to like serve the drink, or however you want to interpret
I think
that.
that's sort of like, as well, I think a lot of that is like a given gift almost sometimes. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a personality trait, like being a people person, being able to sit down, just chat. Do you know what I mean? Not be nervous. And be able to find common ground with people. Yeah, because that's what it is. When you're in a studio with someone, like literally, you could be in the studio with, two totally different types of people from one day to the next. Like, and as an engineer, your job
is to adapt.
Is to adapt and to make them feel as comfortable as possible to get the best out of them. So you've got to be a bit of a psychologist.
You're whatever they need you to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't agree with you more, man.
Exactly.
That is tough.
Yeah,
I mean, bro, that's one of the hardest parts of the role. Like, especially when you're working around the clock. Literally,
yeah, and you can't have a bad day.
They
can have a bad day, but you can't have a bad day.
Even yesterday with my client, and I was honest with them, I was just like, today it's just like not the day.
Yeah.
But I was like, after about the first hour, I was like, is your morning getting better? They were like, yeah. I was like, that's fine then. Cool. Let's just work, because I think a lot of that's the weather and stuff like that. But yeah, and people just
Well, no one's perfect. Everyone has bad days, but you know, it's like.
It's just because usually when you're engineering, it's just you and the artist in the room for a lot of it.
You turn up to a therapy session and your therapist is in a bad mood. You're like, what the fuck?
It's true.
I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah. That's actually a good analogy.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that. That's mad. That's mad.
Like you were saying about having bad days, like when I was at Tape, I definitely had some bad days and reacted to people that I shouldn't have reacted to.
Yeah.
No.
Like I for sure should have been fired on the spot probably 2 times.
100%. I mean, that does happen. But again,
without taking the mic, it kind of just proves how indispensable you can be as well.
Exactly what I was going to say.
You know what
I mean, you can have bad days, but as long as the majority, you're putting that 10% over.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then if on the odd day you come in and you only put 90.
I was there more than anyone else.
So
I did so many hours. And again, like...
Was you there when Nick was there? Nick Mills?
No, I don't recognise that name.
No?
No.
It might not even be Tape now that I've said that, but the amount of engineers I cross paths with that come to sessions where I work, it's just, I'm here, I'm resident here, And I think it kind of moves around quite frequently at the moment. But
for sure.
It sounds like me and you had quite similar paths into becoming a freelancer, actually, because I had the exact same experience. I was working at a studio where we both were, and in Soho.
Is that Relentless?
Yeah. And
whereabouts is that?
It was on Denmark Street.
Oh, Denmark Street.
Literally
right
it was
really cool.
The road from where you would have been.
That's a street over.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Exactly.
Yeah.
And even Soho Sonic as well.
Slightly as well.
Yes, and anyway, was there and. I was working with some wicked artists were coming through, and they sat me down and had a meeting with me, and as I said, I won't get into the details of it, but sort of forced my hand on it, and I was very nervous. A few weeks before, this was saying how the world works, universal language, stuff like this, and I was with Charlie Sloth for like a week at Relentless, and he was saying, bro, like go freelance, man, because he was asking me to help him with a studio, and I was like, I can't do that because they've told me that I'm an asset and that I'm not allowed to work in other people's studios, stuff like this. I had to turn down an ASAP Rocky session at Red Bull because I was so scared that if I did it, I would lose my job, and I just, like you, just got a flat, had bills to pay, stuff like that, and I've missed potentially what could have been an opportunity of a lifetime just for couple of grand in my bank account at the end of the month, right? And but anyway, Charlie sort of talked me into it. And said, this is how you're going to grow in this industry, and just like what you said, he gave me, my first, almost year really worth of work, kept me afloat because I went off, and he said, trust me, you go freelance, they will still need you because the reason why people are coming here is because of you. So they'll just keep hiring you just on a freelance, and then you can tell them you're too busy because you're working with Charlie, and then ended up setting up a studio for him and doing all of his label stuff, and then when Relentless came knocking again, obviously the price went up and it all turned out for the best. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes it's known when, but you never know when.
You don't, and it's exactly the same for both of us, man. You need to sometimes get that little nudge to take the leap. And then
I would have never done it.
Exactly.
I would have never done it. And I remember sitting there and
how
being
devastating is that?
Yeah,
sit here now.
And it was right before Christmas. They shut the studio for the 2 weeks. They had the conversation with me, so I was off for 2 weeks anyway. Beginning of the year, January, and I was like literally sitting there like, oh my God, what am I going to do, man? This is crazy. And then, before I knew it, when I was freelance, that's when I started bringing all you boys in, because...
All you boys?
Well, you especially. And D, but when I mean it's D and stuff.
I know what you mean. Shout out, Silks.
Yeah.
It's not personal.
And because we was getting so much work that I had to ask for help.
He was basically barely doing any of the sessions after a certain point. It was just sort of handing over the work when he could. So it worked. But that was because it worked out for the best.
That's because I knew that you could handle those sessions, and I wanted to do stuff for Charlie and Jamal Edwards and stuff like that. I was trying to keep expanding. Exactly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I remember I put you in a session that the first session, wasn't it? You weren't very happy with because of the guy.
Which one? Oh, wait.
Yeah,
don't say that.
No, okay.
Wait, I'm trying to think. No, but I'm trying to think if it's... We'll chat after.
Okay, but, maybe not.
You put me in... Let's be real, though. You put me in most of the sessions he didn't want to do, so...
They were cool sessions, though. No? Okay, fair enough.
Anyway,
I'll let you two bicker about it afterwards.
I'll go with this guy back and forth, man.
Yes.
But, at the moment, then, so is a lot of your stuff? Is it a lot of it session based, even when you're mixing, or do you like to mix on your own?
So I've got management.
Okay.
And yeah, they bring me mixes, but I'm just mixing now. I'm not
Just
doing like
mixing.
any recording
Love
or
that,
anything
love
like that. And I'm doing stereo and Atmos mixing at the moment. And
Yeah.
it's a, you know, it's a
Mm-hmm.
combination of who management bring me and who
and what
you know,
they require and what you got to deliver.
and some people DM me for tracks or like recommendations from other people and stuff, like word of mouth and stuff. So
No, that's good. That's
yeah,
good.
it's good, man. It's good. It's I'm content at the moment. Like I'm really happy. Like currently right now, I'm working on like my favorite stuff that I've ever worked on. So
That's good.
I feel
was
in a
actually
good
going
place
to
with it.
ask, what's one of your favorite genres to work on?
I really love working on live instrumentation.
Amazing.
That
yeah.
feeds in good. Just for a few questions that I have for you, to be fair, because I feel like we're going to give you a quick fire round, but this is kind of like the first question of the quick fire round that I actually had to kick off. So,
Okay.
but I wanted to, before touching on that,
Yeah.
what is it you find about live instrumentation? It's more challenging. It sounds more honest, like more of a true reflection of something that you can actually mix and translate better.
Yeah,
Like,
I
what is
think it was kind of went back. I mean, before we were shooting, we were talking about like taste and stuff. I grew up listening to like bands, like through my dad's.
Favorite band, name three. Just pluck three of your.
The Eagles are my favorite band.
Okay.
Eric Clapton,
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix.
Okay. Yeah.
So probably those three artists are like
yeah.
what I grew up
our
listening
old
to.
mentor was in a. His dad was in a band with Eric Clapton, actually.
Yeah.
No way.
The Yardbirds.
Wow.
His dad was the lead singer of the Yardbirds.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What a privilege.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
do you know what I'm
unreal.
saying? And then
That's
he says it so blasé, you know, and I'm like, bro, that's crazy.
He's,
You know what I mean?
one of the most influential musicians ever.
Have you heard of the
He's-
Yardbirds?
No.
If you like that kind of stuff, check out the Yardbirds.
will.
They're really, really cool. At one point, they were like very popular.
So mad, bro. We grew up on like different bands. It's so mad. Like,
I'm jealous, man, of the music our parents listen to.
yeah,
to be honest.
Same.
Really?
Even like, 'cause a lot,
I
even
really
the bands
am,
I
man.
inherited were, a lot of them were
I really
because my
am.
parents listened to them.
Like
My
what?
mum, Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah.
The Temptations, like
Yeah,
all these, like,
Temptations.
You know why that
Gladys
is, though?
Knight
That's
and
a
the Pips,
cultural
Curtis
thing.
May. It is, but even then, when it comes to like, even certain bands, like, it would be like, from the UK, it was like UB40 at the most.
Swear
like,
down.
Push, yeah, like, it wasn't much UK bands. That's the best way to put it.
Both my parents aren't very musical.
But
Like,
think about the
that's
eras
not a
we
bad
grew
thing,
up
though.
in.
No.
UK, like, bands were already starting to sort of fizzle out. It was more groups, boy bands, boy groups, girl groups, pop stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was ridiculous.
my
like,
dad,
we had S Club 7 when we were young. Steps.
Right. I
Like,
rate
it
S
wasn't
Club 7
band. No, yeah. Oh, no, I didn't say it in a bad
and
way.
Do you know what as well? Like, if you go back and listen to those songs and
Oh,
those
they were penned
mixes
amazing. And the mixes.
the mixes,
It was
the
rivaling
song,
US
the
stuff.
songwriting. It was. Yeah,
It was
it's just-
rivaling a lot of the US stuff. That's
it's
why the Spice Girls
so
were
good.
huge.
And like from the US, like go back and listen to like Britney and like
It's levels.
my god,
It's all ridiculous
unbelievable.
levels, bro.
But
you have a very close sort of relationship with like pop music though, because that's what you work with a lot nowadays, isn't it?
yeah, so I think. Yeah,
You can't
you're
compare
right.
the two because pop now is not the same as what it was
Oh,
in the
yeah,
noughties and the
completely.
90s.
I mean, pop now
some
is rap
respect.
as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's
I would say
popular
that's the
music.
biggest.
It's
Yeah,
rap.
yeah,
So, like,
Yeah, but if we're talking like genre, you know what I mean?
yeah, okay. So I would say my biggest credits are like pop stuff, but say like the Stormzy one, that technically is pop music. But that,
I was going to
that
say, we have
artist
to
is-
say congratulations on that.
Yeah.
You
Thank
got
you,
your
man.
number one.
Big
Thank
That's
you very
amazing.
much. I appreciate it.
Edit clap track.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's
I
nuts, man.
appreciate
When
it.
I
a lot,
saw
man.
the Instagram post, I was like, my man,
yeah,
let's
that
go.
was a yeah.
How did that
real,
feel?
real
How did
honour.
that feel?
So again, like to rehash what I said already, all about networking and you know whatever. Because the girl, the A&R who brought me the Atmos mixes was someone I worked with at Tape, and we just kept a really good relationship. And now she works at Def Jam. So she sent me one. I think the first one was Hide and Seek with the first single, and I
Wicked.
did the Atmos mix, and she was like, "Yeah, cool. Like, signed off like all happy, like, do you want to do the album? And I was like,
were you given like a lot of creative freedom with it, or did you have to be quite close to the
album?
cast?
Sounds great, by the way. Like,
Thank you.
Like, I know we talk about the accreditation and all that stuff, but the sound of it, like, really good. Like, sounds great.
I'm actually really proud of how the Atmos mixes turned out. And
I mean, I don't listen to much music in Atmos. One of my friends, I don't know if you know this, but on there's sort of an Atmos button you can press in Apple Music. It changes your stereo image on a computer. Like, my friend plays it on his iMac. Whenever I go to his house and play music off his iMac, we actually switch into that mode, and it actually just lets you play it out of KLKs. Was you aware of that?
Well, I know that you can change it to Atmos.
Yes.
I haven't
You haven't listened to it in
I don't know if
like
you'll be getting
stereo.
the right
Possibly,
playback though.
Possibly,
No.
of course not. Of course not. But it's something that they allow.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of depth change, if that makes sense.
Of course.
There's
the vocal will come straight forward and everything else is like washed out.
Yeah.
Huge change in depth.
I suppose there's no way for Apple to like detect whether or not you have like a Dolby system or,
But I'm sure it does. It must like fold it back in some way for a stereo image is what sort of...
No, so when you when you do an Atmos mix, you can scale it down to like 5.1 or then you can scale that down to a stereo, and then there's binaural. There's all
which is
different
what's making me believe that's what they're sort of doing internally.
You're listening to a binaural version of that mix that would be intended for headphones, because over-ear cup headphones like the Apple headphones and stuff like that, you can get
spatial audio
a certain representation of that mix.
But they advertise it as spatial audio.
It's not actually true.
They do advertise it as spatial audio.
It's slightly different, but it's still cool though. It still sounds really cool.
Yeah,
and that's what everyone's going to be listening to the projects on, because you ain't got fucking 10 speakers in your living room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has to sound good.
Soundbars technically play by Atmos.
Some ones that are coming out now do.
No, they do. They genuinely do.
Yeah, but I mean, there's new technology, because it's about they can bounce.
I've got a Sky Glass, and it does.
It's all about
Atmos.
Reflections, and
it's advertised as Atmos. We are never really going to know the exact technology that's being sold to us, unfortunately, unless you sort of research it. Yeah, but if it says it on the label, I just go by it because it's available to listen to.
Have you been to the HQ in Soho Square?
Yeah.
Cool spot, innit?
A couple of times. Yeah, man. Really cool. I went to an event there a while ago, not the most recent one. I saw you had Gurav on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, I was at that most recent one as well.
Yeah. I couldn't go because I think I was in Belfast.
Oh, okay.
I was away. But I would have liked to have gone. I went to one before, and Andrew Sheps was there talking some madness. And it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, Gaurav's a connected guy.
Yeah.
We need to get him back on him.
He knows everyone,
jokes,
man. Yeah.
He knows the whole.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
I was watching Audio Nerds like last night or something, and they're just like, Gaurav, man, we need the M box. Just saying wild stuff. It's like he's the most sought after guy probably in our community now.
It's quite a small industry though. Once you're into it, like everyone seems to know everyone, and I think what you guys are doing is really cool. Like, kind of spreading the word and talking audio, because
appreciate that.
Like from the UK, like no one's really doing a thing like this, so I think it's really cool.
I mean, that was the idea behind it, and when you say that, the reason why I've done it, I've watched a lot of Jay Shetty, and I read his book, and he talks, I think it's called a damsha or something. It's a Buddhist term that basically means like what you're meant to do. Right.
Yeah.
And it's something that you love and that you're good at in service. So that's why.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Go on.
There's a similar thing in Japanese, and it's the three things of work and how you connect them to make like a job.
The word that I was thinking was an Indian term, but it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
And then this is where I was like, I feel like this is that for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm good at talking and I love audio.
Yeah.
And this is in service for everyone.
He loves audio because he gets to capture the sound of his own voice.
Exactly.
That's the main reason.
But yeah, then this is like for everyone, you know.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, but tell me, how did it feel to get that statue, that number one?
Man, you know, like you just don't ever think that you'll be a part of something like that. And you know I did the Atmos, and it was incredible to kind of sift through all the elements of the song and stuff.
Well, as you said, a lot of live elements
and
in
like
that
loads
album.
of gospel.
Exactly.
And like Jacob Collier did loads of BVs for it, which was insane.
Did you get the separates for the gospel?
Yeah.
So that's where you can get some really cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
So we stuck to the master like pretty tightly, but I mean, if you A/B, it's pretty close. But if you sit in an Atmos room, like the BVs are like, you know, and the strings
and the reverb tails and stuff like that, you can do a lot of cool stuff with.
It's weird, man, because like when I got into music, I never sat there and thought like, I'm gonna work on a number one record. I was just like, I really love music, and like I want to work on music that people like and that I like, and work with people that are passionate about it like I am. You don't ever think like you're gonna work with the top artists or whatever. And you know, Stormzy is one of the best UK talents ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, no.
So
of course he is.
For me to play even a small part in a record like that was really, really special.
Yeah,
and then
huge.
as well, like in...
I wouldn't say it was a small part though. I think okay, it's not the mix that everyone's listening to, but I genuinely do believe that it will be the mix that everyone's listening to in the next few years.
And I hope we start getting royalties for it as well. That would be a cool thing as well.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't see why not. I don't see why not. When it becomes the norm, you know, that's what it is. And you say that you hope. There's no reason why you can't be the one to negotiate that and put that and carve that path out for people.
Yeah.
You know, I'll do it for this and with this. You know, every job and every project is negotiable. Like, this is what I say to people when they're saying about, you know, oh, what's the deal with the points and then your fee and stuff like this. And I'm like, mate, it's like whatever you want it to be. There's no set rule to anything. You do it. You negotiate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So,
totally.
that's what you got to do. That's your task.
That's the job, man.
To get
the job ahead.
Be the first. Get the first points on it.
Yeah, the landscape for Atmos mixes is kind of changing though a little bit, like because it's become. I'm about to go off on another tangent,
Please.
so if we're running out of time, then let me know.
No, we are, but please go.
I think because like it's become more accessible in terms of there are more Atmos studios popping up, more people can do it, so the ground to be able to negotiate is kind of shrunk a little bit.
Well, yeah, so I'm not very fast become very, very accessible.
Yeah.
Are we good? Are we still tracking on all of them?
I'm just not sure about that one.
Just come around and check. Yeah, though, 100%. Because I mean, you've got great companies like engineers that are teaching them and are doing, you know, and are really helping people. You know, they taught me. I did the course.
Yeah.
And that's how I became certified. So yeah, obviously it's becoming a lot more competitive.
Yeah.
But I still think, you know, once people realize the benefit of it, it will become just like the other side of it and be like the best float to the top, you know.
100%.
So right now people don't know what the best is because it's not accessible enough.
Yeah.
But like eventually it will come to the top. But before we wrap up, you got a quick fire you want to?
If you still want to do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
All right. We'll start with.
They just stopped.
Oh, okay. Get 1 sec.
No worries.
What?
You introduced it already. Now it's gonna have to cut. Chunk.
You can do it again and then chop
I'll
it
introduce
in.
it again.
That's fine.
We had am I recording?
Yep.
We had a slight technical issue there. Again.
Right,
but we're going to do a quick fire round.
Yeah, let's just run into your quick fire question.
For sure.
So we'll actually start with on the other side. So this one's a little bit more, it's not going to be either or, but it kind of is either or. Or no, it is actually. So in a vocal chain, would you rather not have the ability to low cut past 20 hertz or not have the ability to use a DSL?
If I'm recording or mixing a vocal,
Mixing.
not use a de-esser.
Because you can EQ it, right?
For my vocals, I manually clip gain all the S's down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
And then a de-esser.
So I thought,
but I can do it without a
the question was, my first, the one that I changed it from was actually no use of, I can't remember what it was. It was either sidechain or I think it was sidechain or
Parallel.
Yes, and I changed
makes
it.
sense.
But we'll just go to the next one.
I wouldn't use sidechain.
You wouldn't use sidechain.
Yeah.
I'd dip sidechain straight out of it.
I barely use sidechain.
Yeah, really.
I mean,
every now and
Jason
then.
Joshua
Yeah,
has
the
sort
soothe
of
thing.
yeah, and I'm like really toying with the idea about putting that.
I
in my
actually used
workflow.
the soothe kick dip thing yesterday on a mix.
How'd you find it?
Try it. It's. Do you know what it is, right? So for the genre of music that he's mixing, it's so good.
The Latin big.
But I was doing a rock track yesterday.
Oh no, yeah.
So I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to try like dipping the sub bass when the kick hits. But I'm just like, I need that, like,
punch.
This is like a rock track, so I need the gritty bass like in my face kind of
Well,
thing.
this is the thing. Whenever I do a rock track, that's always a recall that I get. The kick's too loud. And so I'm always
you're
ended
coming
up
from a hip hop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I'm always ended up pulling the kick back.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so that
that would
technique
make
would not
perfect
work.
sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Talk back button, gone forever, or undo shortcut. But I think I know this answer.
Talk back. For
Yeah. As you're not recording as much now, so or at all.
We live and die by the Command Z, don't we? Like.
Yeah, literally. Ability. Never have the ability to group channels again, or never have the ability to parallel process or use sends in a mix.
Group as in like send them all to a bus.
Yeah.
Or what was the other one?
Or parallel. So even if it's blending a wet and dry, or sending something to like either reverb.
Oh my days.
So just anything that is blending of signal or no buses essentially.
Do you know what it is? Right. If it's genre specific, I think I would need to group like rock music so I can get the drums all going together.
Yeah.
And like glue them all together. But if it's like hip hop, then doing everything individually.
But let's just say your door doesn't allow you to do one or the other. Which one would you You load it up. It's just no
grouping.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'd go with grouping.
I feel like your process will probably take a lot.
I'm not gonna lie, bro.
You're playing with wet and dry so much. I mean, that's still available. I was actually going to put or knows nothing on the stereo output, but that's
fine.
I was gonna say for a mixer, that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's fine.
But all right, now these ones are a little bit more fun.
Go on then.
SSL G bus compressor or API 2500 bus compressor.
Oh, G bus, yeah.
Really?
The SSL for sure. Yeah.
Neve or Manley?
Neve.
808 or bass guitar?
Bass guitar.
I feel like these are all very British answers.
I'm British, bro.
100%. Yeah.
PMC or ATC?
PMC.
Yeah. Love that.
Easy.
Guitar amped to mic or DI and emulation?
Yeah.
Guitar amped to mic.
Well, it depends on
you know what? You have so much freedom through DI, I feel like.
100%.
If you've got a really good guitar player and they know what they're doing,
you can't recreate.
No, I'm saying if you have a good guitar player and he knows his amp, it's unbeatable.
Yeah.
And then if the tone's wrong,
or they
other
play,
elements of
you know
the
what
record
you know,
change,
you know what it's like.
It's a bit harder to undo.
It's like guys that know how to record into autotune and then guys that put autotune after, right?
You should always put autotune on after though.
There's loads of artists like that will record into the autotune because they know
have
how
it wet
to
and
adapt
dry,
it.
and then you should just use the dry.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like a guitarist with his amp knows how to like push the amp and play the amp and play with the amp.
It's part of the sound.
Exactly. I mean, I agree. I do agree.
Yeah.
But if you've got like some shitty reverb pedals attached to it, I'm against pedals. Everyone's been coming for me in Instagram comments as well, not even related to this podcast, but forgot his name. I'll shout him out on the next episode. He does like videos where he's basically insulting everyone in the band. So he's like, do you know why I don't like guitar players?
And he plays the keys. He's a joker. I've seen him. He's a joker.
But,
he came for us.
They came for the engineers the other day, and I said, you lot and your cheap tacky pedals, move off the stage because you can't even gain stage them, let alone get a good sound out of them.
Yeah.
I think we got a couple more.
Go on.
And then, so 1176 Bluey or Blackie?
Bluey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hardware or in the plugin world or in the hardware world?
I have used hardware, but I would say plugin just for ease.
Yeah, of course.
I like using the Bluey on my vocal.
It's a bit brighter.
Yeah.
On vocals, a few more harmonics poke through, I feel like.
Yeah. I use my parallel vocal, the Blueface.
Yeah.
So that's the one I use most, yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah.
And last one, LA2A or CL1B?
LA2A.
Nice.
Yeah.
nice,
Again,
nice.
on my vocal chain, like set to limiter though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you use CL1B plugins or hardware at all?
So when I had my studio at the other Cube site, I had a CL1B in there. And whenever I was in America, it was always CL1B.
They love it.
Always.
But
into the 1073.
They're like so transparent,
do you know what it is, right?
For hardware, anyway.
Yeah, hardware.
As far as hardware goes.
Kanye made that a thing.
Yeah, it
like
was
the
Kanye.
1073 into the Tube Tech. Like it was just like popular. And it's a great sound, don't get me wrong. But like Kanye used it, so everyone was like, we're going to use this. And don't get me wrong, like I said, it sounds fantastic, but it's not the first thing I reach for.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I really like an LA2A. I'm using the you know, Jason was saying about the L Ray, the Acoustica plugin, the L Ray, the Greg Wells compressor.
Yeah.
I've just started trialing
Is that
that.
like a 2A kind of emulation?
Were you at the
No, it's
Abbey Road event?
Yeah, I went to the Abbey Road event.
Oh,
yeah,
I was there as well.
Pierre and Manon.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I must have seen you and just not said hi. Like
Yeah,
a
we
rude
were.
guy.
Well, I was sat all there with them together. Yeah.
Oh, mad. I apologize.
All good, man. It's all
So
good.
you liked it while you was using it, or you just don't see the hype over?
No, I actually really like it. The saturation you get through it is gorgeous, and
Wait, this is the Acoustica plugin, right?
Yeah, Acoustic. It's called El Ray. I'm
El
literally
Ray.
plugging Greg Wells's plugin right here.
Yeah.
This is mad.
As if you need to plug in.
It's really good. And I had been using, before that, I'd been using what was I using? LA2A on compress, maybe. It does change quite a lot, to be fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll throw an RVox in there just for
that plugin.
ease.
For ease. It's spoken about, and some people will literally rely heavily on it. I don't like to mix with it often, but there is sort of just some sort of just action and
it does something, man.
It does something.
Yeah,
it does.
They don't give a lot of information about what it is that it does do, but all I know is that I'm still angry at Waves for changing their subscription thing.
Oh, man.
Even though they reversed it, I don't care.
Yeah, they reversed it, but Waves.
I feel like Ali had a lot to do with that, you know.
He
social
really
media
went
went
I've
for it.
never seen the audio community come together like that before.
Yeah,
that was
instantly.
The
as
worst
well.
part is, like, I think they had it on like sort of like a package by package basis. So like certain packages you like.
Well, and it was just like, you know, it was like one or the other.
I was using computers.
So.
I've used computers recently with people that have subscriptions on it. I'm not even seeing NS1 in there.
I don't even use Waves anymore.
This is
not?
what
No,
NS1.
I just have like
NS1, bro.
No, yeah. So I use the NS1. I do use the NS1, but and I do use the H delay as well.
So good.
But like I have like a handful. But you know, I got rid of the subscription. I just
the best
bought
Waves
the ones that I
plugin
like.
is the NLS bus anyway. To be honest, and the NLS channels.
The Jason Joshua drum bus thing, is that what you're talking about? The LNS
Oh,
bus?
this is NLS.
Like 8 of them in a row.
Well, yeah, and
Oh,
he started
really?
using
He's
the
using
master that master bus compressor.
The
Shadow Hills.
Yeah, on his
I got
stuff.
both the Class A. And
Yeah. Well, you tried to put me onto it, but it was only when Jason
I told this guy about this. Anyway, let's not even get into it. Listen,
we got
have a lot of issues to work through.
he just
We've
annoyed
known
me.
each other for
I
so
can't
long.
wait to
This
go
is
home.
why-
I genuinely can't wait to leave.
This is why we do this podcast and why we do it together, because we're always beefing about stuff and it's funny. But on that note, we better wrap it up. It's
For
been
sure.
so good. I
Thanks
didn't
for
even
coming
realise
through,
the
bro.
time.
My
Really
pleasure,
appreciate
man.
it,
Thank
man.
you for having me.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do it again. We'll have to do a part 2 because I don't even feel like we scratched the surface.
Not even.
Nah,
Yeah,
for real.
so
I'd
much
love
more
to
to
have
say.
you back on,
Yeah,
bro.
100%. But on that note, Will Reeves' all of his information, his Instagram and everything will be down below. And you've been listening to the Mixed Opinions podcast. Really hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below and we'll see you in the next one.
Like and subscribe.
Let's go.
So-
Nice. Thank you, bro.